All right, so we'll call the meeting to order. First thing I'm going to do is call the roll call. Mr. Chamorro,
Here.
Mr. Fortin,
Present.
Mr. Kelleher,
Here.
Mr. Bernardi,
Here.
Bradrick,
Here.
Ms. Waz.
I'm here on the phone.
Okay, thank you. Charlene, Cutler, and Mr. Sheed. That Barry that just joined us?
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
there I am.
All righty,
Right.
very good. All right, so the next order of business, seeing as how we don't have to seat an alternate, is to approve the meetings from the meeting minutes from November the 10th, 2020. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved. Fred Shamora.
All right. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a second. Discussion. Anyone have any omissions or corrections or comments?
One thing on the, on 7, new business, the tax collectors, conversation, I abstained from that. It said seconded, motion carried unanimously. I abstained.
Okay. We'll get that changed to one abstention. All right, any others? Hearing none. Mr. Chamorro, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Fortin,
Aye.
Mr. Kelleher,
Aye.
Mr. Bradrick,
Aye.
and I vote aye as well, so that would be unanimous. Okay. Next order of business is the public comment instructions, and basically, if in fact someone has a question, they can type that in at any time. If you've joined us when we get to public comment and you care to speak, just raise your hand and we will have you unmuted so that you can make your comment. And that will take place under item number 8, public comment. Next order of business is old business. And the first item under that is the update on the state budget. Karen, do you have anything on that?
Actually, I don't have any update on the state budget at this time.
Okay. Fred, have you heard anything?
No, way too early.
Okay, very good. All right, then we'll move on to update on the local bridge project. Karen, do you have anything on that?
Nope, other than just still doing some preliminary engineering. And John Navarro is gonna be talking to CHA, which is the new company that's took over for CME. And we're hoping that maybe by the spring, we'll be able to get a bid going out for some financing, but I won't know anything until maybe the end of December, beginning of January.
Anybody have any questions? All right. Hearing none, we'll move on to next item, which is update on the town hall renovations. Again, Karen?
So on the town hall renovations, we're still waiting for some quotes for the hardware. We have to have some, I think they're breakaway bars or something like that on these doors out. here.
Crash bars.
Crash bars. We're gonna be starting some painting in the lobby and around the door frame. I know that John Navarro's been working on getting us some quotes. So that's really where we stand with that at this point.
Any questions? Okay. Hearing none. Item D, is Board of Ed non-lapsing transfer request, and we are going to table that until January.
you like a motion, or
Yeah, that would be good.
I would move that old business item D be tabled into our meeting in January.
Okay, Mr. Fortin has made a motion to table item D to January meeting. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Bradrick seconds. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, we'll call for a vote. Mr. Chamora,
Aye.
Mr. Fortin,
Aye.
Mr. Bernardi,
Aye.
Mr. Bradrick,
Aye.
I believe I missed Mr. Kelleher. Yes, Mr. Kelleher,
Aye.
and I vote aye as well, so that carries unanimously. All right, new business, election of officers. So, somebody would like to begin by making a nomination or motion for chairman.
I would move that Mike Doherty for chairman.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other nominations? Come on. All right, hearing none. Mr. Chamora,
Aye.
Mr. Fortin,
Aye.
Mr. Kelleher,
Aye.
Mr. Bernardi,
Aye.
Mr. Bradrick,
Aye.
and I abstain. All right, I will open the nominations for vice chair, and I would start by nominating Mr. Chamora.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We have any other motions?
Please.
Hey, Fred, I'm stuck, you're stuck.
But Isn't vice chair the easiest job anyway?
Yeah, pretty much. I just wait in the wings.
All right, Mr. Chamora, how do you vote?
Abstain.
Mr. Fortin,
I would approve.
Mr. Kelleher,
Aye.
Mr. Bernardi,
Aye.
Mr. Bradrick.
Aye.
Okay, the motion carries with one abstention. And now we'll open nominations for the clerk treasurer. Clerk secretary, rather, excuse me. Nominations?
I nominate David Fortin,
Okay, we have a
Thanks,
nomination.
long as he's not handling money.
And I will second that nomination. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, Mr. Chamora,
Aye.
Mr. Fortin,
I'll abstain.
Mr. Kelleher,
Aye.
Bernardi,
Aye.
and Mr. Bradrick.
Aye.
All right. Takes care of that. Next item under new business is to review the fund balance policy. You should have received a copy of that via your email. Basically, something we do each and every time of year, this time of year, and is there any anybody have any questions or anything in regard to that?
Karen, what is our current fund balance percentage?
I don't have that yet because, I'm sorry, Fred, we don't have that yet because we're still in the middle of our audit. We haven't concluded that yet. But we were close to, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, 16% as of June 30th, 2019, before we began this, the fiscal year. So once we get the financial statements and we have the audit presentation, we'll know more. Last January of 2020, I think it was, we made a lot of changes because we had such a higher fund balance. So that's when these were last updated, and I don't think anything's changed since then because we're still in the middle of the audit.
Mr. Chair, given that the guidelines currently say 15%, and we don't have that audit yet, I make a motion that we table this till after the audit comes in to see if that number needs to be changed.
Karen has a comment to make.
So Fred, what we did last January was we decided that we were going to make the change. So on page 3, under guidelines, the very first paragraph, we changed it to no less than 10%. So that way it gave you more, wiggle room as far as what you wanted to do. And then the second paragraph just basically says, if it's more than 15%, then that excess may be used for one of those 3 items.
But it's not
But it's
required.
not required that we have any percentage. We just can't go below 10.
Right, it does say may be only used, but
But it was your amendment.
yeah,
I believe it was. No.
I think so was too. Okay, then I will withdraw that. I withdraw.
All right. Okay, so
Wait a minute.
yes,
We
go
do
ahead,
that.
David.
Yeah, so Fred, if we table it to our next meeting, we offer ourselves an opportunity to make a change if we want to.
Yeah.
And if we don't do anything right now, we would have to have a new agenda item in a different
Correct.
meeting. So I'm almost thinking that, forgive me, but I think your first motion would be better. Just table it to the next meeting, and there may be no action taken, but certainly we won't shut it off until next year.
Yeah, and my thinking was that normally, we have the audit report by December, or at least a preliminary, presentation from the auditors. So we kind of get a feeling what that number is and if we need to change. So I don't see a harm in putting it off for a month till we get the audit report.
I agree with that.
So are you going back to saying you'd
Yeah,
like
I'm gonna
to?
go back and not withdraw. I'm gonna stay with my proposed motion
to
that
table.
we table this agenda item until we receive the audit report. And that may be in January or maybe later, whenever that happens.
I would second that motion.
All right, we have a motion and we have a second. Do we have any further discussion on that item? Hearing none. Mr. Kimura,
Aye.
Mr. Fortin,
Aye.
Mr. Kelleher,
Aye.
Mr. Bernardi,
Aye.
Mr. Bradrick,
Aye.
and I vote aye also for a unanimous vote. Okay, the next item on the agenda is to approve Board of Ed emergency expenditure from the non-lapsing account. I believe you all have a copy of that. Anybody care to make a motion to approve the expenditure of $8,946.97 from the non-lapsing account?
Sorry.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second, Fred Shimura.
That would be $8,496.97. So we have a motion, we have a second. Do we have any further discussion on that?
Chairman,
Yes,
it's my understanding the numbers have not yet been subject to audit for the Board of Ed. Are we certain that that number is valid and can be expended?
They do have it in there already. They already have it in their non-lap.
that money is already in their non-lapsing account.
Not a transfer. in.
It's not anything we're transferring in or they're transferring in. It's money that's there from their previous budget.
Which budget is that from my record, please?
throughout the year.
That would be the accumulative budget up to and including the start of this year's budget.
Okay, but that, there's no audit on that, if that number may or may not be correct.
No,
The total may not be correct that they have in there, but we know that they have sufficient funds to spend that $9,000. Because what it is the non-lapsing account is they can put aside, in the past, it was up to 1% of their budget total per year in the non-lapsing account. And that has been changed to now it's 2% of their gross budget. And there is no cap on that whatsoever. They can just continue to add money to it with no maximum. But the agreement, when we approved having the non-lapsing account, was that we would review anything that they spent from there.
I understand that, and I have no problem with the concept of the non-lapsing. My concern is the number has not been validated by audit, and whether there is $80-some hundred there or not, we're not sure.
Roy, I just want to reiterate, so there's two non-lapsing items on this particular agenda. So the first one was to transfer a surplus into the non-lapsing. That is why we're tabling it under new business, because they don't have a confirmed amount approved by the Board of Ed to transfer in. So the second one is there's already money sitting in a non-lapsing account that's been accumulative over several years. And now they're making a purchase. So you have to approve the expenditure. It's different than the transfer in. The transfer in is what's being audited, not the expenditure coming out. That does not get audited.
Thank you.
As I read this, that expenditure has already been made.
Because it was an emergency.
It was an emergency expenditure, yes,
Right. And so this is actually a reimbursement for that expenditure.
correct.
May I inquire the nature of the emergency expenditure?
I believe it's addressed in the letter.
Roy, do you
The
have
server
the,
crash.
do you have
It's
the
a server
letter?
crash.
Roy, do you have the letter that was submitted with the package dated November 23rd?
Yes, I do. And
That explains exactly why they had to do this emergency expenditure.
we just seem to have a lot of emergency expenditures. That's all my point.
Well, we had a lot of problems this year with COVID, unfortunately. If Janice, if you're on, do you want to further explain this to the Board of Finance, please?
Right, yes, the server that we have in the middle school, one of our servers, was scheduled to be replaced in this fiscal year, the 2021 fiscal year. Unfortunately, it crashed in late February, so it didn't quite make it to our planned obsolete. Very unexpected crash. It did, and it then rendered us really incapable of doing a lot of things prior to COVID and doing remote learning. If we would have, we couldn't have possibly done remote learning without that server working properly. So if it didn't crash before COVID, it certainly would have crashed after, because there would have been such a load on it.
And there is no other source of funding as contingency or maintenance on the hardware that this could be taken from.
We were using all our funds for everything related to COVID. And so, yeah, this was where we had to pull it from.
Mike, anyone else?
Mike,
Yes,
we have a motion on the table just to approve. Could we get, would it be possible, Fred, to amend the motion to state what the money was for and how much it was? Would that be unreasonable?
Out.
It was for the server, the replacement of the server.
No, I mean, Fred made a motion to approve an emergency expenditure from non-lapsing. I was wondering if he would be kind enough to perhaps reconsider and amend his motion to say he approves the Board of Ed emergency expenditure from non-lapsing of $8,496.97 for the server. For
Sure.
whichever school it was.
Sure. Did I make that motion?
You did.
Okay, yes, I do agree.
All
That
right,
provide clarity to people who read our minutes.
and do we have a second on that clarification?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Well,
Hearing none. Mr. Chamorro, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Fortin?
aye.
Mr. Kelleher?
Aye.
Mr. Bernardi?
Aye.
Mr. Bradrick?
Nay.
And I vote aye, so we have, motion carries with one nay vote. All right, now we'll move on to public comment. Anyone?
Mike,
see-
before you go further, sorry, Mike.
Go ahead, David. David
Did we
Fortin.
have to, I might be confused, the Board of Ed non-lapsing transfer request, wasn't that turned down at the last meeting and part of our agenda? Do we have to table that item? Or was it only for?
We
the
did.
server?
No, because of the fact that it's not available as yet.
Okay. I just want to be clear.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Now we'll go to public comment. Mr. Richardson?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah,
This is normally the meeting where the audit is presented and reviewed and approved because it's normally required to be submitted to the state by the 31st of December. Has there been some change at the state level or OPM to change that date? If not, has there been an extension filed?
there has been no extension filed at this time, and we are expecting to get the draft of that by the end of the month.
By the end of the week.
The end of the week, actually, Karen said. And then we will review the draft. And basically after that, it would come up at our January meeting to accept that. But I don't think
Not ready.
because of the fact that it's not ready, and this is something that we're not the only ones that are going through this at the time. I'm sure that the auditing firms are all well aware of this, and it's being addressed, and I don't think that there will be any issue with the state based on that.
Okay, because normally it has to be approved by the Board of Finance before it's submitted to the state. And it's usually voted on at the December meeting, approved, and then submitted. So you're not planning a special meeting.
No, the terminology is actually not approved by, it's accepted by.
Yeah, fine, but it's accepted and then it's submitted by the 31st of December to the state.
Yes,
So if it's not submitted by the 31st of December to the state, and it won't have been accepted until January, there's a little issue there with dates. And either it has to be an extension filed or there's some accommodation by OPM to extend the due date.
I'm sure that's being addressed on the state level. As I say, it's not just the town of Woodstock, it's everywhere. Karen has something she'd like to add.
So basically, I have been in contact with our auditors, and right now, because everything's been being done remote, they're a little bit behind. I have questioned as to whether we would have to file an extension. I was told at this time, no. I believe we should have those drafts. We're hoping by the end of this week, if not the very beginning of next week. At which time those will be furnished to the Board of Finance and the Board of Ed, and we will be reviewing those. And then I'll be in contact with the auditors as far as making sure they're, filing on time. And once we know more, the Board of Finance and the Board of Ed will know more. But right now, we have nothing.
Okay, so the public won't see it until January.
Correct.
Okay,
As soon as they're available, as soon as the financial statements are actually done, they will be posted on the website.
oh, great, great.
But we just don't have them yet to post.
Yep.
Anything else? All right, any other public comment? Anyone type anything in or? Yeah. Oh. All right, well, we don't see any other requests for comment. So we will move on to other from the board. Anyone else on the board have anything?
I would just like to,
Nothing.
Go ahead, Fred.
I would just like to say that this is the best Zoom meeting technologically we've had. I know you're in the same room with Karen, but you're sliding that laptop back and forth, but it works. We can hear you both well. I can see you both well. And I think it's worked better than any of the others so far.
I have to agree with that, Fred.
We got to give Crystal Adams
Yeah.
all the credit.
Kudos to Crystal Adams. She's got extension cords all over the place here, and it looks like the back of a Hollywood movie set with all the wires we've got, but it works. That's all that matters.
Well,
Nice job, Crystal.
she did a great job, and we need to do the same until we come back to physical meetings again.
Agreed. Mr. Fortin, you had something?
I just mirror Fred's comments and thanks, Crystal. Good job.
Charlene, did you have something you wanted to add?
No, I just wanted to concur. This is great.
Very good. So I think we're all pretty much of the same opinion there. All right, if no one else has anything else, move on to correspondence and announcements. And our next meeting will be, is scheduled for January the 12th. And I would just like to wish you and all of your families Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Be safe, stay safe, and enjoy it.
Thank you. And you
Thank
too.
you.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Thank you.
And you.
And to you too.
Somebody care to make a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you all.